Okay, so very good afternoon to one and all. So this is a session about gate related questions and answers. Okay, so today we are going to see the topic about computer architecture. So in that mainly we are going to focus on cache memory. Okay, we have already seen about different types of memory and its memory hierarchies. So now in this session, we are going to discuss more about cache memory. So cache hit and cache miss are the main components of main integral parts of a cache memory analysis. Okay, so first of all, we shall see what is cache hit and cache miss. Okay, so first, so cache memory, as you know, is the fastest memory and very reliable memory. Okay, so in computer, the main memory uses the support of cache memory for better performance. Okay, so there are so much different types of caches available. Okay, so first one is primary cache, second one is tertiary secondary cache, and followed by tertiary cache is also available. So what is cache hit? Okay, in order to understand what is cache hit or cache miss, you have to understand what is the operation involved in cache. Suppose whenever you are going to access a particular website or whenever going to access a particular resource in a computer, the thing first request will be going on to the memory system of main memory. So main memory is a very small memory, so it can't able to handle so much of things. So what it does is it may ask for whether that particular resource is available in cache memory. Okay, so if the resource is available in cache memory, then that particular resource can be given from cache memory to the main memory. Okay, so at that point of time, this cache memory will be very useful. Okay, suppose if the main memory is asking for the resource which is present in cache memory, when the resource is available in cache memory, the cache immediately gives that particular resource to the main memory. So in that particular situation, when the memory location is accessed by the cache at a particular point of time, it is considered as cache hit. Okay, so the main memory, it is very simple. Suppose the memory is the particular thing is asked towards the main memory. The main memory ask help from the cache memory. Suppose the cache memory find that particular resource, then it is considered as cache hit. Okay, suppose when there is so much of time taking place for reaching that particular resource and the cache memory does not find that particular page or that particular resource in cache memory, then it is considered as cache miss. Okay, so cache hit and cache miss are very important topics in cache memory. So based upon that, we can provide the hit ratio. Okay, so to measure the to measure that characterization, the performance measure is very essential. So it is identified by the hit ratio. So hit ratio is assumed as the ratio between number of times referenced words are in the cache. Okay, total number of times the word is referenced in the cache, followed by the ratio between total number of memory accesses. Okay, so if you divide the number of word references that are there in the cache divided by total number of memory accesses, then it is considered as hit ratio. So next one is effective access time. So it is the time taken between that is the ratio between number of hits. Okay, so plus time per hit, how much time is taken to access that particular memory. So that is time per hit. So followed by number of misses and total time per miss. So this should be added and the whole component will be divided by total number of memory accesses. So this is what the basic introduction about cache memory and their related resources. Now we will move on to the gate questions straightly. So consider this question: a RAM chip has a capacity of 1024 words. of 8 bits each. Okay, the number of 2 by 4 decoders with enable line needed to construct 16,000 into 16 RAM from 1K to 8 RAM is. The options are 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so this is what they have asked. So what the question is asking is, there is a memory RAM chip. The RAM chip capacity is 1024 words. Okay, so the number of decoders, okay, how the number of decoders needed to construct the RAM is, that is what they are asking. So the solution is like this. So decoder is a combinational circuit that has n input lines and maximum of 2 power n output lines. Okay, there are two processes such as encoder and decoder. So we are concentrating about decoder. So the decoder will always decode the particular information to the original form. So the RAM chip has a capacity of size 1K into 8. That is, they have given 1024 words of 8 bit size. Okay, so the RAM to construct 16K into 16. Okay, that is what we are going to construct. So here is the diagram I have given. So in the diagram, first diagram, see the first diagram. In that, this is the overall layout of that particular RAM chip. So the RAM chip will be having read, write and address lines. Okay, this is read line, this is write line and this is address line, and followed by chip select CS1 and CS2. So chip select. So the overall there are 5 to 6 components are available. Of these 5 to 6 components, okay, so of these 5 to 6 components, we are going to construct a RAM chip. So the next diagram shows the decoder diagram. So two lines of inputs are given. The two lines of inputs are manipulated into 4 decoded lines. Right? A and B are the input for the decoder. So two inputs are given, 4 outputs are generated. Okay, with a lower priority of D0 to higher priority of D3. So this is what they have given. So we are in need of constructing this particular thing. So the solution will be, available decoder is 2 into 4 decoder. To construct a particular decoder, 4 into 16 decoder is needed. So hence 4 plus 1. So finally we are in need of 5 decoders. So the final answer will be B. So a RAM chip has a capacity of 1024 words of 8 bits. So the number of decoders, that is 2 by 4 decoders available to construct a 16 by 16 RAM is, the answer is 5. Okay. So next one, an instruction is decoded. Next question. So the instruction is decoded when it is kept inside a program counter, instruction register, accumulator, and arithmetic logic unit. So these are the questions they have asked. So we have already seen about the basic uses of these 3 things, these 4 things, right? So last class we have discussed about arithmetic logic unit in CPU. So followed by program counter. So next one is instruction register and accumulator. So can I get the answer as which is the default register used for particular instruction? Can anyone answer? Which one is the default register? Instruction register. Yes, very good. So accumulator. So defaultly when there is no register is given, so the process will be completed by the accumulator only. Very good answer. So the answer for this question is, so that is the common thing. So for answer for this question is instruction register. What the question they have asked? Instruction is decoded when it is kept inside. Okay, what is the purpose of instruction register? So instruction register will hold the current execution, current information about the executing instruction. So whenever the current instruction is being processed, that is only decoded. Afterwards only we can save that in the accumulator. So the answer for this question is instruction register. So be clear. So instruction register will hold the current instruction set. Accumulator will save the total output, or accumulator will be a default register. Program counter will be holding the next instruction which is going to be processed in the program. So arithmetic logic unit is the overall thing. It will process every control structures and every arithmetic instructions. So if you are clear with each and every register and what it is used for, so it is much easier for you to answer these type of questions. So next, third question. So the third question will be, consider a memory system that takes 25 nanoseconds to service the access of a single 64-bit word. Okay, we have to access 64-bit word. Okay, so memory system I am having, a memory system takes 25 nanoseconds to access 64 bits. So what they are asking, the bandwidth of processor memory interface, the bandwidth of processor to memory interface will be how many megabytes per second. So here are the options given. So we shall move on to the solution. So we have 1 byte. 1 byte is equal to 16 bits, that we already know. So 16. So 64 bits involve 8 bytes. So in order to access 8 bytes of data, so 25 nanoseconds are essential. So 8 bytes of data can be accessed in 25 nanoseconds. So in 1 second, how many bytes are accessed? 8 divided by 25 into 10 power 9 bytes. Okay. So 10 power 9 bytes, in the sense 320. If you compute the answer for this, you will get 320 megabytes MB. So the solution will be, the bandwidth of the processor to memory interface will be 320 Mbps. Okay, megabytes per second, Mbps. Okay. Moving on to the next question. So before moving on to this question, I want to make sure that you should understand the different caches. So cache memory, as I already said, is the fastest memory. So cache memory also involves different types of memories. Okay, the first type is L1 cache, the second type is L2 cache. Okay, L1 is the first cache. Suppose when I am going to for example, consider the situation. So when I am giving instruction to the computer to access a particular data, okay, so in that case, the main memory is searching for that particular data. Okay, so when it is searching for that, it first search at the L1 cache only. Okay, L1 is nothing but level 1 cache. Suppose if the searching instruction is available, or searching data is available in L1 cache, so it will be delivered to the main memory. The main memory reads it and it will deliver to the particular customer. So suppose if the L1 cache searches and it is not available, so then the next preference of searching will be carried to the L2 cache. So L1 cache is the first level of cache memory. L2 cache is the second level of cache memory. Okay. So coming to the question again, assume that an L1 cache with a hit rate of 70%. So hit rate is equal to 70% for L1 cache. So and L2 cache with miss penalty of 10%. Okay. L2 cache is having the miss penalty of how much? So 10 percentage. So if there are 1000 memory accesses, okay, so 1000 memory accesses initiated by the computer, then the number of access that will find a hit in L2 caches. Okay, just a second. So, so then the number of access that will find a hit in L2 caches. Okay, this is what they have asked. The question is simple. Hit rate of L1 is 70%. Miss rate of L2 is 10%. Total number of memory access is 1000 memory access. So what they are asking, find out the hit in L2 cache. They have only given L1 cache hit rate. So they are asking to find out L2 cache hit rate. So the question is very simple. Answer is also very simple. So we have already noted the performance equation. Okay, here we have already seen the performance equation. Hit rate, effective access rate. From this equation, we have derived this particular thing. Okay, so number of accesses that will find a hit rate in L2 cache is equal to miss rate of L1 into hit rate of L2 divided by total number of, that hash symbol indicates total number. It's a short form. So total number of memory accesses. So miss rate of L1 is 30 percentage. Okay, because the hit rate they have given as 70 percentage. The remaining 30 percentage will be miss rate. Okay, so 30 percentage into 1000 instructions plus 90 percentage. 90 percentage is nothing but they have given miss rate for L2. So the hit rate will be 100 minus 10 percentage, that is 90 percentage into 1000. Total divided by total number of memory accesses. The total number of memory access is 1000. So you get 2,70,000 divided by 1000. So the answer is 270. So the correct option is A. So the next one, the fifth question. It's an interesting question. A catch has a hit rate of 95 percentage and hit time of 10 nanoseconds. They have not given miss rate. Okay, they have initiated catch has a hit rate of 90%, 95%. So hit rate is equal to 95. So hit time is equal to 10 nanoseconds. The catch block size is 32 bytes and the word length of the processor is 16 bits. So during a catch miss, okay, they have given catch hit rate. So during when there is a possibility for catch miss, so it takes how many nanoseconds? Okay, X, that is they have mentioned as X. During the catch miss, how many nanoseconds, okay, is needed to fetch the first word into the block? Okay, so the remaining part is extra part. So they have, they in some questions during the gate related questions, they will give some more data. the data which is not necessary for answering your question. So they will mix up with some more data to confuse you. So don't think of that particular thing. So keep it in mind that whatever essential data is needed for your problem solving, consider that amount of data alone. So it will make you simpler to answer. Okay, so the value of x is, that is what they have asked here, the x value, how many nanoseconds are needed. So memory access time. Okay, AMAT is the memory access time. Amount of memory access time is equal to hit time of L1 plus miss rate of L1 into miss penalty of L1. This is the formula. Okay, so miss penalty of L1 is equal to time to fetch the block from memory. So coming towards the end, so they have given AMAT is equal to 15 nanoseconds. So based upon that, when you substitute that particular value, you will get 10 plus 0.05 into x plus 75. So the final answer will be 25. So C is the correct answer. Okay, so this is what they have given. So based upon that, we have find out 25 is the apt answer. So next one, consider a directed, that is direct mapped catch. Okay, so direct mapped and unmapped catches are different types of catch. So this will be taught to you in the upcoming classes. Okay, so before that, just have a look into what type of questions they are going to ask. So consider a direct memory mapped catch which has 64 bits, sorry, blocks, and block size is 16 bytes. Okay, so the blocks, total number of blocks is 64. Each and every block is having size of 16. So total memory blocks will be 64 into 16. You have to find the answer. To what block number? So block number starts from 1, 2, 3, 4 up to etc. 64, or 0, 1, 2, 3 up to etc. 63. So in what block number does 1206 byte of data will be mapped? Okay, this is what they have asked. So coming to the answer, so block size is equal to 16 bytes of data. Okay, so memory block size is equal to byte address divided by block size, that is 1206 divided by 16. Approximately the answer is 75.3. We can round it off by as 75. Okay, so then approximately we can say that the byte address 1206 will be placed in 75th block. Okay, so total number of block is 1206. So okay, sorry, total number of block is 64 blocks. Okay, which is having different byte allocations. So moving on to the substitution part, we can substitute it as 75 modulo division of 16. So the answer will be 11. Okay, so this is what the answer is about. So hope you would have understood the different types of different types of questions that are asked in and around catch memory. So this is the very simpler kind of questions that we can expect from the gate related questions. So there are a lot more questions which are more critical. So for example, this type of question will be asked in 2 marks in gate. Okay, for answering the 2-mark questions itself, you have to be clear with the basic concepts of each and every topic. Okay, like I said earlier, so computer architecture is like a ocean. So you have to understand each and every topic and each and every keywords in that. So once you understood, it will be very easy for you to get away. Okay, so far we have seen 5 to 6 questions in this session. So first question is all about decoders and RAM size. So second question we have discussed about the basic things about program counter, instruction register, accumulator, arithmetic logic unit and all. So third question is we have analyzed the processor to memory interface and memory system allocation. So fourth question is about L1 and L2 catch, catch miss and catch hit. Okay. So fifth question is about the miss penalty and the total total amount of time taken for fetching a particular data into the memory of catch. So sixth question is all about the mapping involved in cache memory between the block size and the memory unit. So this is what we have discussed in our gate session today. So hope you might have got the basic idea about gate related questions that are related to cache memory alone. So there are a lot more questions in computer architecture related gate questions that we will see in the upcoming classes. We shall look it forward to our upcoming classes. Okay. So thank you for listening to this gate session. So um, we will discuss the uh, different topics related to gate in the upcoming sessions. Okay.